I've traveled here from North Sydney, Cape Breton, to have the opportunity to speak with you today concerning the implementation of the Glaze Report, an opportunity neither I nor my colleagues in the profession were given as implementation of recommendations was set into motion. I want to be very clear in my message to you today. There is nothing in this legislation that will improve student achievement. And this is what we are all working toward, improvements in student achievement. The recommendations of the Glaze Report are a fabricated solution to a crisis in education that does not exist. An attack on democracy in Nova Scotia by taking away the ability to elect board members and appointing new ones of this government's choosing is not the solution to what ails the system. Joseph Howe himself would roll over in his grave. Centralization of services does not help meet the needs of individual students and unique communities. This is wrong. There is a reason governance over and jurisdiction of education happens provincially and not federally, or from a centralized place with no respect to the distinct regions and diversity of Canada. The more you centralize power, the less you respect diversity, individuality, and culture. You want a real crisis to deal with? One you don't have to make up or interpret statistics in a skewed view? Try child poverty. 1 in 3 children in Cape Breton live in poverty. That means if you in front of me were my class, 4 out of the 12 of you will be living in poverty. What about the healthcare crisis? We have ER closures that are rampant in Cape Breton. We have children that don't have doctors, that are not getting the medical attention that they need. If you do not understand how this impacts education, then you do not understand education. What about the crisis surrounding mental health? Students are not getting the supports they need. Have you ever been to a funeral of a student that took their own life? Have you ever witnessed the grief of students firsthand? Have you ever had to deal with that grief for yourself, but more importantly, for an entire school? I have. And you know who does it even more? Principals. And they do it well. I state all of these examples of real crisis because I want you to understand what life in a school is like. What the word crisis actually means. Minister Churchill has stated that, quote, teaching excellence and leadership is the biggest determinant in the classroom. Really. So you can take the greatest teacher in the world and put them in front of an overcrowded, split-grade class of non-diagnosed students with a variety of mental health issues, varying levels of ability, and any number of learning disabilities, some of whom are hungry, some of whom are tired because of the living conditions that they are in. And you think the number one determinant of student success is excellence in teaching. Schools are not a business, they are a family. I've been very fortunate to work with many excellent administrators, all of which I've had the highest respect for, even when we disagree on something. I've been able to work with these fellow NSTU members because of the collegial and collaborative model that we have. By passing this bill, you will be taking the principal teacher out of that model and placing them into a business type model, ripping apart the family. A model that has been proven not to work near as well. Look at the shortages of administrators in Ontario because of the business type model. Look at the 40% increase in grievances since this model was used. Principals and vice principals are so much more than just managers of a building and staff. They are mentors. They are friends. They are family. Making them managers, you will only hurt these relationships and in turn negatively affect our schools and students. I keep hearing Minister Churchill say, we're doing this for the kids. Baloney. This legislation is not about student achievement. This is about control, plain and simple. I know you are going to push this bill through because you have to, in order to silence any that oppose you. But stop lying to teachers, stop lying to parents, stop lying to students, and more importantly, stop lying to yourself. This bill is not about students, it is about control of those that could oppose you. I am the NSTU, and so are my principals.